the fact that Arteta, I also wonder too, the fact that Arteta comes out and says this, is this also a way to ensure that we're talking about these comments? So we're talking about him. And maybe is it a way also to protect your players a little bit? Because look, Martin Odegaard, fantastic footballer. I thought's been through a rough time. Certainly had a rough time in the first leg. Got a knock at the weekend. Saka, good on Wednesday night, I thought. Kind of fits and bursts in the first leg. And so it's either conversations about Arteta's comments rather than more broadly individuals. Sometimes you see coaches do that. Mourinho,
maybe. Yeah.
Whenever Mourinho does something stupid, or people think is stupid, he's protecting the players.
I don't know if the players need protecting, really, to be fair. I think he also maybe wants to, because the conversation is also like, where is this Arsenal team right now? Where are they going? Are they keep improving? It's been 5 years in the job for him. He won an FA Cup during COVID, but it's another second place potentially or third, whatever.
That's not even assured at this stage.
Yeah,
so City annoyingly are 3 points back.
No, I know, but whatever, It would be close to the title, but not the title yet. It's quarterfinal of the Champions League last season and then semi-final. So that in itself, I guess, is an improvement. I still think they're going to the right direction. He's doing an amazing job. They only have one player above the age of 30 in the team that started on Wednesday night in Paris, for example. And is Lewis Kelly ready for a game like this? Maybe not. Can they learn from this? I think they can, like they did from the disappointment against Bayern last season in the quarterfinals. So I don't think it's so negative at all. And I think his comments more broadly about whether they were the best team or not in this Champions League or deserve to go to the final, I think are also comments like, we are doing things right here, which I think I agree with him. I think he's right. They are doing a lot of really good things, a lot of the right things. There's something missing, which they will have to find out and figure out what is missing and bridge that gap. But I think they are on the right way.
You make a good point about the age of the team. It's obviously a young team. There's also an elephant in the room, which is contract extensions. And the way they play this is going to be really, really big because you have William Saliba, you have Bukayo Saka, both, I think, 2027.
Yeah, 2 years, yeah.
And you also have, you're going to have to sort out Easton Ranieri, and you're going to have to sort out Miles Lewis-Skelly. Now, obviously, with the younger players, it's not so much, I think, a question of, are they going to go and play a hard game and leave? No, we ever presume they're Arsenal fans. They came up through the ranks.
Yeah.
But we've seen other young players, Aiden Heaven, Chido Obi, leave, presumably because they weren't, Arsenal said, okay, we value your contribution at XYZ, and they thought they were worth more. And in the end, they ended up moving on. So I think there's big decisions to be made upstairs. And I go back to this on January because it's a big talking point in the Arsenal sphere. You know what I'm going to say about this. Gabriel Jesus goes down. As you know, and for the record, I'm a big Kai Havertz fan. I think Kai Havertz is fine as a center forward for what he does for this team. Would it be better if you had Erling Haaland up front? Probably. But outside of that, for what he's asked to do, I don't think you need somebody to replace Havertz, but you need an alternative to him, right? That didn't happen in January. Well, it didn't happen last summer when I thought it should have happened because Gabriel Jesus, to me, is more of a wide player. After Gabriel Jesus got hurt, they made the move for Watkins. It didn't work out. As we understand it, the valuations were far, far apart, and also Villa shifted John Duran. So at that point, they decided, let's keep Watkins.
Of course.
I don't think... I think it's fair to look at this and say, this possibly cost you the Premier League title. It possibly ended up costing you this, right? There's no counterbalance to it. But I think it's pretty evident when you have Trossard or Marino up front. Those are both two guys playing out of position, especially Marino. Part of me says the worst thing that could have happened is for Mika Marino to have scored those 2 goals as an emergency center forward and then continued scoring. Because to me, the team looks completely different when he's when he's at center forward.
I think he did his best. His performance at the Bernabeu was outstanding, for example. But obviously there's limitation because the guy's a number 8, and it's just he had to learn very quickly to do a job as a number 9. So it's different. I don't think anybody can say they would have won the Premier League with a number 9, or they would have won the Champions League or going to the final of the Champions League, because they scored over 100 goals this season. Same last season. They were the best attack, just behind City last season in the Premier League, for example. So I don't know if like a top striker would have helped. For sure it would have. Would it have made a difference? I don't know. Is that where you lost the title last season? This season? Did you lose through injuries that are maybe something they need to look at as well? The injuries. How can you lose Odegaard for 3 months and Saka for 4 and Havertz for 4?
Let me turn it around, right? And I realize, and obviously the injury, I think the Saka injury was obviously a major blow. But in the end, and I think this is part of the reason why there's a new director of football, Andrea Berta, because ultimately it's about resource allocation. Arsenal put resources, and there's reasons for this. Okay, if we assume Arsenal's back four, first choice back four is Timber, when everybody's fit, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, and Lewis Skelly. Arsenal then put resources into Calafiori, into Tomoyasu, who's obviously already there, with injured, missed virtually the whole season, but still he is part of that group. Kivior, again, did well to replace Gabriel, but Ben White and Zinchenko is still there. Looking at this, if you have 4 defenders, you probably maybe don't need 5 defenders to back them up, especially when some of these players, like Saliba, like Gabriel before his injury, in the past were very durable. I think this is something to look at. There's a parallel universe where Calafiori never gets injured, even though he did have an injury record coming into it.
Yeah.
Maybe Calafiori's playing midfield. I mean, I think that would have been
Kelly role. That's the idea. The idea was that Calafiori would play as a left back, coming inside, inverting a lot.
Okay, here's what I think. I think in the back of their minds, they wondered, could Calafiori play in midfield instead of Partey? Not now, obviously, right? But if everything was fine, is this somebody? Because we have Lewis Skelly coming through. We obviously have Timber who can play left back with White right back, whatever. But that was one of the possibilities. So they put their resources into defenders. Many of them are comfortable with the ball, who could play midfield. And I think Eddie Nketiah left, not replaced. And then Gabriel Jesus gets injured. Nobody coming in. And it could have been a short-term loan and whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's going to change under Berta. I don't think Berta has any issue with short-term loans to plug a gap when somebody's injured. Whether that'll work, I don't know. In terms of the 5-year progress, I mean, I think you have to be a moron to suggest that they haven't made any progress in 5 years. I mean, that's nailed on. But clearly the concern is, we assume City are going to be back next season, that they're not going away. We assume, United and Spurs can't be as terrible as they were this year.
No, for sure.
Chelsea up in the air. And we assume Liverpool are going to be, it's not like Liverpool are going to turn bad all of a sudden, right? Yeah. So even that sense of selling the club to the fans and to public opinion, I think that's going to be the challenge.